And Deb, I don't know whether you have information or you have done research in this aspect. It is a social aspect. There is a report commissioned by the UK Parliament which has found that this using of new technology and sexting kind of activities actually harm the child or the reputation, and it gives the final conclusion that preventative action, education should be taken. What are your thoughts?
Well, I've actually come across quite a bit of research that suggests the opposite.
Oh, I see.
Although one recent study from the US that I think is particularly interesting shows a really big distinction between people who didn't feel at all pressured to engage in sexting and people who felt pressure or they felt coerced
Quite
into
interesting,
sexting.
two different areas.
Yeah,
yes.
so there's this study, it's somebody Englander, Elizabeth Englander I think the name is. And so she found that about 92% of people who hadn't felt pressured or coerced reported no problems whatsoever after sexting. And I think it was 68% of people who had felt pressured who said that they'd had some problems. And this is something that actually doesn't often get talked about, and it's not something that the law is really dealing with, but this issue of feeling coerced and pressured and people having negative consequences from that, as opposed to just people freely, consensually sharing photos with somebody else. There don't seem to be the same kinds of problems. And there was another study that showed that there was absolutely no correlation, there was no relationship at all between negative or between psychological problems and sexting.
So we have come to the end of our program. But before we finish, let's give it another thought. What are your last thoughts?
Well, in relation to the new sexting legislation, I think what needs to be taken away from this discussion is the fact that if you're in a relationship, even if you're a minor, and you're sending sexually explicit messages or images to each other, the law seems to be allowing that to happen and protecting you. However, anything outside of that relationship, where the consent has been taken away for you to not send these messages to anyone else outside the relationship, the law is coming down hard in terms of protecting those victims of sexting.
Which includes jail time.
Which includes, well, the maximum for distribution is 2 years, and the maximum for threat of distribution, as Deb was saying, is 1 year.
Deb?
Well, I think we do need to keep in mind an ethical kind of framework for when we talk about sexting. So rather than just saying that talking about it as being wrong or something, then that we keep in mind things that might hurt other people, and that the way that we're talking about it is in terms of not hurting people. So not sending something maliciously, not distributing sex that are going to hurt somebody else.
Right. Russell?
Whenever new laws are introduced, there's always a period where we've got to adapt and find out how they're going to work out. So if someone has been contacted by the police or feels they're in a similar situation, it's really important to get up-to-date legal advice. It may be under the new laws no offence has been committed, and that needs to be borne out as well, and prosecutors need to be up-to-date with it too.
So, thank you for coming and sharing your knowledge with us. If you want to participate in our program, or if you have a topic, a question in mind, just write to us. Our information is on our website, which is www.lawhelpaustralia.org, and you can watch us on our YouTube channel. Bye for now.